Testing, 1, 2, 3. Check, 1, 2, 3. This painting right here, I made that. It's my art channel. It's also my Star Trek fan fiction channel. And tonight, I'm just gonna wing this one. Normally I go over these things many times and practice them. But since nobody actually watches these things, and nobody cares, I'm just gonna wing it. Now this will be the video that gets 10 billion views. I just know it. But if it does, make sure you like it and subscribe it. Ready? Here it goes. Captain's log, stardate 24:35. Kirk and the bridge crew were summoned to their posts at 2:30 in the morning after a red alert woke them from their sleep. Kirk arrived first and called for the red alert to stop. He traded places with the overnight commander, Lieutenant Stone, who was visibly shaken. "What's going on?" Kirk asked, taking his seat in the captain's chair. "There's a Klingon bird of prey 1,200 kilometers off our bow, and the commander is demanding to speak with you now," Stone replied. Dr. McCoy stepped through the turbolift doors and took his place by the captain, shaking his head in disgust. "When are you taking that down?" McCoy asked, referring to the dead Klingon captain, who was hanging by a rope, twisting in front of the main view screen. "In my own good time," Kirk replied. "I have other problems to deal with." "Like what?" McCoy asked. "I have another Klingon demanding to speak with me, perched off our bow and probably ready to fight." "You're not going to put him on the view screen, are you?" McCoy got out. "Put the Klingon on the screen," Kirk said, dismissing everything McCoy was saying. On the main viewer, the face of the Klingon commander appeared, and it didn't take long for him to notice the dead captain in the foreground, dangling and twisting. "Well, that answers my question," the Klingon said. "What question?" Kirk asked. "Where my captain is, or was," the Klingon replied. "Yeah, he's hanging out around my deck," Kirk replied with a grin. "I find your humor a great lack of respect for the dead, and for my crew specifically." "I recognize you," Kirk said. "I think I've seen your photo on some wanted posters. What's your name?" "My name is Kollog, and I am probably on many wanted posters, as are you, Captain Kirk." "You know me?" "Have we met?" Kirk asked. "Not personally. I know you from your long history as a killer of my kind," Kollog replied. "And I see you have not stopped." "Nor do I intend to," Kirk replied. "If you try anything to harm my ship, I will add you to my list." "Now that I know where my captain is, would you allow me to have his body out of respect for his family?" Kollog asked. "Are you kidding me? His family doesn't want him back, and you know it. Tell me why you really want his body," Kirk asked. Kollog leaned back in his chair and stroked his beard. "You do know a bit about us, Captain." By now, Spock had entered the bridge and was standing next to Kirk on the opposite side of McCoy. "Captain, I suggest we evacuate the area as soon as possible. We don't need to get into a fight with a bird of prey." "He'll chase us anyway, Spock. You know that. We're basically at a stalemate," Kirk said. McCoy said Spock wouldn't suggest something he knew wouldn't work. "What do you know we don't know, Spock?" McCoy asked. "The bird of prey has limitations and cannot maintain a chase for long," Spock replied. "That's it?" Kirk asked. "Is that right, Kollog? Is your ship that slow?" Kollog laughed and shook his head. "I assure you, Captain, my ship is not slow. And if I were you, I wouldn't take advice from a Vulcan, especially a half-human Vulcan." "Warp 8, Kirk said. "Now!" That was 2 pages. Normally I do 3 pages, but tonight I did 2 pages.